Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we're going to laser engrave 2 bamboo cutting boards. Now there's nothing special about these bamboo cutting boards. You basically get them in any dollar store. They're relatively cheap, they last a pretty long time, and although you shouldn't put them in the dishwasher, a lot of people do that, and after about 6 to 7 months they fall apart and they need me to laser engrave them again. So here you can see they're both laminated bamboo, and the reason you could tell is you really see it on this board here is you see very solid strands. Now if it wasn't laminated, you'd have a gradual gradient of densities in the wood, while if it's laminated like this, and you get the same thing with maple or pine, whatever, any kind of lamination, you'll see the different strands of density, which doesn't really happen in nature on specific boards. So for the laser engraving, they're both done with exactly the same power, same speed, same everything, but there's a slight difference. And the reason for that is, again, it has to do with densities. Now with our CNC router, if we do routering on basically any kind of wood, there's no sort of charcoal produced, there's no contrast created, so that's why you got to do the paint filling. And the paint filling is a very, it doesn't matter what the density of the wood is, the paint is always the same. Now when we use the laser to do the charcoal, that's very much affected by the density of the material. The denser the wood, the darker the mark, and the more charcoal is produced. While here is less dense, more dense, less dense. And the reason for that is because basically you're burning through the wood. So if you're having a lot more intensity on denser wood than you would have on lighter wood. Now something you might not know is that we actually make a lot of custom cutting boards here using various kinds of wood species and do the lamination here in the shop as well. So if you want a custom maple cutting board in the shape of, I don't know, a turtle with laser engraved, aspects or details on it on the front or back, what have you, we can actually manufacture that for you here in the shop in any sort of quantity that you have in mind. Now something to keep in mind with custom cutting board manufacturing is that, again, everything is produced one at a time. So there's definitely a higher cost than what you see here as the bamboo being laser engraved. But it's an extra piece of personalization that you can have in your shop, or give as a gift to somebody else. We can also make the trenchers all the way around for the juice to go in. And again, that can be totally customized however you want, any sort of thickness, depth, any sort of shape. So let's say, again, you want to cut a board in the shape of a turtle. Well, we can make the juice trowel all the way around in the same shape as that turtle. So you're not stuck with making just rectangular or square or oval cutting boards with my company. Now, again, with the personalization aspect of it, we can add another layer of detail that you can't really have on most cutting boards. So if you're looking for custom cutting boards, the easiest way for you to sort of get one produced by us, or many of them produced by us, is give us an idea of what thickness you want, what size you want, what shape you want, any sort of details that you have in mind that you want to have for your custom cutting board. Now we can also do inlays in the cutting board as well. So let's say you wanted, again, we'll go back to the turtle sort of idea. So you have a turtle cutting board with a turtle outline all the way around for the juice. We can also put an inlay into that of a different wood species or the same, or do a resin fill for you. So you can have like extra color that you couldn't generally have with a cutting board. Now it comes to the wood species for your cutting board, we can make that literally out of anything. So if you want a mahogany cutting board, maple, zebra wood, what have you, any sort of exotic or general wood like pine if you want it, we can make that for you just as easily for you in the shop. Now of course you got to keep in mind the price will be a major factor for you. A mahogany cutting board will cost a lot more than a pine one, just because you have a hardwood versus a softwood and material availability. You can also customize the thickness and any other sort of aspect that you want for your custom cutting board. So if you want like little trays that come out or matching what have you, any sort of things that go with your cutting board, we can make that for you as well. Something we also do is custom butcher blocks, which I haven't gotten around to making a video of it yet, but that's something we can also manufacture for you if you own a restaurant or you want something that's say really super heavy duty. So an end-grain chopping block that's maybe a foot thick, we could make that for you just as easily as the cutting boards you see here in the shop, just using bamboo. So any sort of customization works for us to make for you. And the nice thing is we ship it right to your door, so you have an idea of when you're going to get it, We have all our timelines established ahead of time as well. So we'll tell you, okay, once we get the money and the design sorted out, here, maybe about a week before it's made, a week before it arrives by shipment, and you can enjoy it right away. Now, what are your options regarding the design aspect on cutting boards or any other kind of wood that we do here in the shop? Well, they're basically infinite. Because we're not cutting through it, we don't have to worry about bridging material to support inner parts. So for instance here, this would make for a really good stencil because we have supports all the way around. But here, let's see the B, you'd have to actually add a support if this was made as a stencil. But because it's just a cutting board and we're not cutting all the way through, we don't have to worry about that. So that means any sort of font, any sort of vector imagery works totally great with cutting boards. We can also personalize them along the edge, along this, every aspect of it can be totally personalized. We can optimize things from then on. So if you're looking for custom cutting board engraving, contact me at CNCKing.com. We'll make it for you and ship it right to your door.